you did the correct thing by having the unwrap UVW, but I'm going to delete it and show you. We have to do it in a particular way. So I'm going to click it and then click the garbage can to remove. And then I'm going to go over here into Element. So make sure I'm selecting all shapes of your gun. And so now that I've in Element, I've got the top and bottom in that middle piece. Then I'm going to do the unwrap UVW. So now I can scroll down. Planar is going to be an option for me, and you can do it in Y. The reason it was an option before is because you had several pieces, but Max was only seeing it as one, and it didn't quite know what to do with that. So then once we've applied that, I can go into my UV editor. But if you see, this is just one-sided. I'm not seeing the other side, and it's very close to the edge of the boundary, and Mudbox doesn't like that. So I can go into Mapping, and then Normal Mapping. Can leave the defaults the same, and then hit OK. So now you can see I've got my front and my side here, but they're still kind of close. So you can either scale it, or we can go down in our UV editor here, and there's a section, and this is newer to Max and the UV editor, but we've got options, and if you leave your mouse over it, it'll tell you. So you can custom arrange them, bring them together, or normalize. So we want to click Normalize. And what that does is it breaks it up even further. Now some of these pieces might be a little confusing, and if this were a texturing class, I'd advise you to do things a little bit differently, but you're going to want to wait for a texture class where you'll really go into the different types of mapping, why mapping is important, and all of that. But just know that for Mudbox, what this is doing is allowing you to paint in Mudbox, and it'll know where you're painting on that object. So I can close that, and then I'm just going to go to File, Export. I called it Jane already, so I've got this set. And then I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to look in Mudbox. I'm going to import my Jane FBX. And so you're seeing that we're actually getting an incomplete UV set one more time. It says this mesh has an incomplete set of UVs, so we must fix it. This high valence vertex issue, that's okay. You can leave it. Mainly, that's anytime you use a cylinder, you're going to see that it comes to one point in the center, and Mudbox thinks you have too many edges coming out from that, but that one's okay. So we can keep this, but we're going to actually go back into Mudbox or into Max and figure out what's going on here. So we've got the normalize. Go into Polygon, select them all, scale it in a little bit just to get away from those edges. And, oh, I missed one. There we go. Scale it in a little bit from the edges. We already did our normal mapping up here, which these are my kind of default and the arrangement here. So let's try to I'm going to see what a normal map does when we do it again. Brings it back. So we don't want that. Hit OK. I'm going to undo. So the last thing, since it thinks that really all of our UVs aren't unwrapped, it thinks that most of them are, we have one other option that we can do, and it's to relax. Now, relaxing is a tool specifically to Max, and what it does is it starts to slowly drift edges and vertices away from each other. And when I say edges and vertices, I mean of the UVs. So it's not touching anything on your actual model, it's only adjusting the UVs in the editor. So if I start to relax, if you watch kind of in this area where my UVs are, you'll see it's going to start to pull away. Okay, so I'm going to start and stop. So you're going to click really quickly. If you let it go, it'll just keep relaxing like crazy. But then you can see we've got some overlap now, so I'm just going to arrange again to normalize. Okay, so now we will try again. We will export our object. Yes, I know I'm replacing. Okay, Oh, no, it looks like I closed Mudbox. So open up Mudbox and import. And then that error is gone. So when you're watching this, and I can try to point your attention, but you're going to want to do the relax first, and then normalize, and then you won't have any errors, and you can keep this mesh imported in, and you'll be set to go. So I hope this helps you, and let me know if you have any other questions.